Ayinger Bayerisch Pils.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. Honestly, this heat, I am not cut out for this weather at all. I don't mind admitting it. I know I keep saying it in these videos, but it's fucking killing me. It really is. And it's one of them things where it just stops you from doing everything. I should be out on the bike in this weather, but the thought of putting leathers on in this weather, I'm sweating like this as I am. I've had to put a vest on, and it's just, honestly, I am not cut out for this weather. And I have just reviewed two of the Lidl craft beers that are available in their craft beer festival, and they're not bad. They were really good, really nice, really tasty, but they just aren't as refreshing as German Pilsner in this weather, or German beer, German lager, or wheat beer even. And luckily, I put an order in this week, and I've got quite a bit of German lager and wheat beer and other beers from Germany that I haven't tried. And I've got some, luckily, Beers of Europe had some stuff from the Ayinger Brewery which I hadn't tried. And out of, I think in their core range, they do 14 beers. I've not tried 6 of them. I've tried all the others, and they've all been really good beers. And I'm hoping this one isn't going to be an exception. And of course, Ayinger are one of my favourite breweries. I absolutely love what they do, and they just get things right. As I say, they've got 16 beers in their core range. 14 beers in their core range. And they do all the German styles, but they do some outstanding ones. And for me, their dark lager, the Bayerisch Dunkel, is one of my favourite beers of all time. It is absolutely amazing, full of flavour. It reminds me of a nut brown ale, but more drinkable. So it's got the flavour of a nut brown ale, but it's got the drinkability of a lager. And, you know, you've got the perfect marriage. You've got the flavour and the drinkability, and you know, you just can't go wrong. And I have spent many a night drinking bottles and bottles of that stuff. Love it, absolutely love it. But of course, it's from Ayinger, and Ayinger, in my opinion, are one of the best breweries in Bavaria. Not the best, one of the best. So let's investigate this beer. Right, it's a Pilsner, right? And they call it a Bayerisch Pils. Bayerisch, of course, is an adjective for somebody from Bavaria or something from Bavaria. You've all heard of the football team Bayern Munich. It's derived from that. Apparently it comes from the ancient Germanic tribe that inhabited that region during Roman times, etc., around that sort of time. And they use it on a few of their beers, as I've mentioned before. The Alt Bayerisch Dunkel, of course, Bayerisch means something from Bavaria, or a person or a thing from Bavaria. So that's where it gets that name from. It's unusually, it's a 330ml bottle. Normally they do 500ml, but this is a 330ml bottle. It is 5.3% in the volume. It uses Hallertau hops, and I discovered today that Ayinger only use Hallertau hops, which of course makes perfect sense, because Hallertau is the region in Bavaria where the hops are grown. So why would you want to go out and get hops from elsewhere? Because they are fantastic hops. They're one of the noble hops. They're really, I mean, they are the perfect hops for Pilsner beers. They are earthy, they are spicy, and they give beer a dry type of flavour to it, which of course is what a Pilsner is. So let's get this open and let's see what's going on. Honestly, I can't tell you how hot it is in this room. It is fucking sweltering. Now, there's the cap. I really do like the Ayinger caps. I know I keep making a point of it every time I review their beer, but I love the caps. They're like a little oil painting of the brewery on the top, which I don't think any other brewer does. I'm going to drink it out of one of these glasses. This is a German Pilsner. It's a half, I think it might be 25 centilitres. I don't think it's a 33 centilitres. But the point behind these glasses is, and if you've ever drank Kölsch or you've heard of Kölsch, the glass is about the same width. They call it a Stanger or Stanger in German, which means pole. And the reason it's called pole is because it's tall and thin. And I think they only hold 25 centilitres. And the reason for that is you just fill your glass up, and by the time you get to the bottom, the beer is still cold. Now, I've always made this argument about steins. That's why I never drink beer out of steins. By the time you get to the bottom, it's going to be warm. It's not going to be very refreshing, and it doesn't taste that, not saying it doesn't taste great, it doesn't taste as good as it should. Word of warning, if you go out to a German bar and people are not used to drinking, for fuck's sake, do not let them buy a litre stein full of beer, because they will be on their fucking arses. That happened to a colleague in work, and the aftermath was not pretty. It involved trips to the toilet, coming out of both ends, etc, etc, and I'll leave it there, but suffice to say, he doesn't drink German beer anymore. And it was Paulaner. He was drinking steins of Paulaner. What a waste. What a fucking waste. Anyway, what are we getting on the nose out of the glass? Yeah, lovely. Typical. Just what I'd expect from a German Pilsner. Lovely Hallertauer aromas. Dry, bitter, earthy and spicy. That's what I'm getting. Herbal notes. Big herbal notes as well. That's the main thing you get from this. And a lovely clean flavour. It's like clean water. If you can imagine what the smell of clean water is, that's what I'm getting from this. It smells lovely. Really does smell nice. And there it is in the glass. Look at that. It's a lovely light colour. Fair bit of carbonation. I think the head is dissipating because of the heat in this room. That's why this glass is fogged up. So let's stop gassing and let's get this down the hatch. Zum Wohl, as they say in Germany. Oh, that is lovely. That is absolutely gorgeous. Now, I tried the Weihenstephaner last night, and that had a typical Pilsner flavour to it, but it also had a smidgen of what I picked up as coriander. It almost had like a Belgian yeasty fennel that was added to it as well, which is unusual for a Pilsner. It tasted nice, don't get me wrong, but this stuff, this is absolutely gorgeous, and I think it's better than the Weihenstephaner. Yeah, there is a dry finish to it. You're getting lots of the earthy notes and the herbal notes that you would expect from the Hallertauer. A little touch of spice on there too, but on the arse end of it, you got them lovely Munich malts. Now, normally you shouldn't get that. It should normally be it's like the gate should shut, and it leaves a very dry, well, not a very dry, but a dry sort of mouthfeel. And I think with this, and I am not complaining, believe me, you get a little bit more malt than you should in your average Pilsner. The fact that they've used them lovely Munich malts in there, yeah, that just sets it off for me. And I really like this. This is fantastic. It's sweeter, I will say that. The addition of them Munich malts, not a lot, but just a touch. There's a little touch of sweetness on that. So, for example, if you compared this with a North German Pilsner, for example, the Jever stuff, which I tried the other day. That was really bitter, and it had so much hop character in it. It was lovely, don't get me wrong, it was ice cold, the weather was like this, it was perfect. But I think this is just a personal thing with me. Them Munich malts really do make this the ideal summer drink for a Pilsner. Now don't get me wrong, if it's a toss up between Pilsner and Helles, I have to say I prefer the Helles, but there's not much in it. And believe me, on a day like this, I am not going to turn down an ice cold Pilsner like this, because this is going down very nicely indeed. Lovely, really nice. And I think this is the perfect size for a hot day like this, because if you have a pint glass, and I did find this with the Weihenstephaner, which came in a 500ml bottle, as you get down to the bottom, as I mentioned before, with the Steins, the Steins are a bit of an extreme example, but with a pint glass or a 500ml bottle, as you get down towards the end, it's just, I don't know, it's a little bit warm, not as refreshing. I think these glasses, these 25 centilitre glasses, are perfect for both Pilsners, Helles, and yeah, maybe even a Kolsch as well. But Kolsch have their own style of glass. I haven't got Kolsch glasses. You know, a thin glass is a thin glass. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, this is lovely. This is the perfect. It's making me feel relaxed there, nice and cool. Yeah, perfect. So what's the verdict on Ayinger Pils? This is better than their Helles. I did try their Helles a while back, and I was slightly disappointed. Now, if you'd have told me this was the Helles and the other stuff was the Pils, I'd have said spot on. But ironically, this has got a bit more maltiness to it than a Pilsner should have. And I would have expected that in the Helles, but I didn't get that. I got everything I was expecting from a Pilsner in the Helles and vice versa. So I don't know what's going on there, but either way, both were excellent beers. So this is really, I know it sounds like I'm complaining, but I'm not. I'm really not. This is just fantastic beer. Well, you know what that's going to be, don't you? That's going to be a 10 out of 10. And I don't know whether it's something to do with the weather, something to do with me being absolutely fucking roasting, but this is just perfect, and it's a 10 out of 10 for me. It can't be anything else. And I definitely recommend it. If you're having trouble getting hold of this, then I recommend the Sam Smith's Organic. Now, I don't know, Sam Smith's are a good brewery, but they had an actual link with Ayinger. And I think Ayinger taught me a thing or two about how to brew lager. And at the moment, I think the best homegrown lager comes from Sam Smith's. It's their organic lager. It is absolutely superb. It reminds me a lot of a German lager. And as I say, I think it's got something to do with what Ayinger have taught them. But that's just my recommendation. This gets a 10 out of 10. And available on Beers of Europe. Get yourself some. You will not regret it. And remember, just like this, beer is working class champagne.